Greetings, salutations, and welcome to SportsLook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and tonight we're getting an upper-level view of sports because we're going to have the head person himself, Kevin Fite, the athletic director at Eastern. We're going to have a grad student who's also on the rodeo squad, Shaeden Marr. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Greyhound softball played the two-time defending national champs, University of Texas Tyler. Unfortunately, the Greyhound ladies dropped both of those games. Greyhound baseball playing against St. Mary's, the number 18 team in the nation. They won the first game of the series, unfortunately lost the next three. Greyhound track and field competing at the Bobcat relays. We had a young lady who had a provisional mark. That was Devin Erickson in the 400 hurdles. And Manny Chavez moved up in the provisional and finished fifth overall in that particular meet. Well, it had been your Eastern recap, so we'll clear the set and we'll bring in Kevin Fite right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and a privilege to bring back to the set of SportsLook the athletic director of Eastern New Mexico University, Kevin Fite. And Kevin, it's kind of an understatement to say that we had a pretty good basketball season for both men and women.
Oh, we definitely did. It was a lot of fun. You know, we went really starting in January, kind of went on a run, particularly in men's basketball. I don't remember how long their streak was, how many games that was, and then of course our women's program. They hit a little bump in the road at midseason, but battled back and made the conference tournament, and both advanced in the conference tournament, both advanced to the NCAA tournament. Fell a little bit short in there. One thing I was real proud of, and I was able to, I think, put it out on social media, but we were the only school in the conference to have both teams in the semifinals of the conference tournament, so that was positive. And you know, our men's team came within really a buzzer beater shot from Dallas Baptist of winning the conference tournament, and really we would have been hosting an NCAA tournament regional here in Portales, which I don't think's ever been done before.
Nope.
And so that would have been great. So we came close, but we have a lot to build on. And feel good about it. You know, women's teams made the NCAA tournament in each of the last 2 years. And I think the thing that we really saw was increased attendance at our games. We did a little bit more marketing and promotion to get people out, get students out. And it had an impact on the team. I think anytime you can create a home court advantage, that's going to have a positive impact. And our fans saw great games. I mean, you know, buzzer beater shots, and you know, we beat that Dallas Baptist team at home. We beat WT at home, and it was just a good year, and we need to build on that. We lost some good players, both on the women's team and the men's team, but I'm confident both of our coaching staffs can go out and recruit good players, and we can have a similar experience next year. To me, that's the expectation. I actually had somebody say to me during the basketball season, because we had both teams had made the tournament, and they said, we're going to do T-shirts because they made the tournament. I said, no, that's not the expectation. The expectation is to win the tournament. So we just continue to raise that expectation. And I've always found that when you raise expectations, people tend to meet them. So that's what we're shooting for.
Kevin, it's a rare week. There is no baseball game at Eastern. There's no softball game, but there's a pretty cool event that's going to be taking place Saturday afternoon.
Yes, and we did that intentionally because we're going to have our spring football game, and we kind of looked at the calendar and tweaked it just a little bit. We only have so many windows there, and I thought, well, with Coach Briles coming in, it'd be nice to do a spring football game where there's no other things going on, and we can have the full attention of the university community and those that support Greyhound football and get them out here. So, yeah, we're the only show in town this weekend. Track's on the road, baseball's on the road, softball's on the road, and weather's not cooperating right now. The forecast looks like we're going to have some rain, but I can tell you this: these players have been working hard, and they've really been enjoying themselves during spring ball. So I think the least we can do is come out and see what they've got to offer. And I have been fortunate enough to go to a number of practices, and it's fun to watch. And these kids are having a good time. They truly, I've had people say, I love football, and I love playing for Coach Briles and his staff, and the style that they play, both offensively and defensively, is going to be entertaining, and it's attractive to players. It's attractive to recruits, and I think really good days are ahead.
Talk a little bit about the specifics. What time does it start, and what's all going to be involved?
Yeah, well, just like a regular football game, we're having tailgating. So the lots will open at 8 a.m. on Saturday, and folks are welcome to come out. We're going to start with a cornhole tournament at 11 a.m. You can register on our website to be part of that, and we're also going to give out some recognition and prizes related to tailgating. You know, who's got the best tailgate set up out there, and we want to create kind of that game day environment so that our fans can get excited about what we're coming up ahead. We're also going to do some season ticket giveaways, particularly those that have put down a deposit and or provided us with contact information about the possibility of buying tickets, giving them an opportunity to throw some footballs and maybe hitting it through a tire, and hey, you win your season tickets. So, you know, we certainly want people to be excited about coming out. I think they're going to enjoy what they see and get a taste of what the fall's going to look like.
Well, we don't want to totally put this year in the rearview mirror because we still do have softball and baseball that will be taking place at home. But let's look ahead. What's in the future for Greyhound Athletics?
Well, this spring we will have we have a home track meet next weekend, and then actually next weekend everybody's home. Everybody that's competing will be home. Baseball, track, and softball competing, and then the following weekend after that, baseball goes on the road. I believe softball will be on the road too. And then that last weekend or that first weekend in May, softball will be home. So we're nearing the end. We're winding down, but we got to keep pushing and hope that both our softball and baseball team, they're growing. They're both young, and they're developing. I think Josh Harden and the track team, they'll have some folks that'll qualify for the NCAA championships. They'll be competitive as they always are in the conference championship, which is the second weekend in May. And then we'll see about who qualifies for the NCAA championship in late May and have them there. And then we can't forget about rodeo as well, rodeo has really had a good year. And we expect to have quite a few rodeo student athletes qualify for the National Collegiate Rodeo in Casper, Wyoming in June. And well, if you've not ever done that and gone to that, I really would encourage you to. I mean, Casper, Wyoming is not a bad place to be in the summer, and it's an indoor arena, and it's a lot of fun. And you walk away from there, you'll be a hardcore rodeo fan. I went last year, and I hope I get to go back every year.
Kevin, let's talk a little bit more about the track meet. Is it a 2-day track meet or just a Saturday?
I believe it's a 2-day.
Okay.
I believe it's a 2-day, Friday and Saturday.
And if people want to know, there's a great place that they can look.
GoEasternAthletics.com.
And if people want to know more about the spring event for football, is it Go Eastern or is there a separate website for that?
You can just go to Go Eastern Athletics, probably tap on football and get information, football news, and get information about that.
So in terms of next year, here again, we're kind of fast forward like a TV program that does flashbacks and then goes forward. What's the one thing you hope for next year?
Well, I hope for continued success, both in the classroom and on the fields. One thing that we're very fortunate about is we've secured some additional funding, and a lot of that's going to go into scholarships. So I actually met with all of our head coaches last week and said, hey, each of you are going to see an increase in scholarship availability for your programs. And several with full funding, they'll have the ability to meet NCAA scholarship maximums, which I don't believe has ever been done here before. And I told them, get after it. Get in the transfer portal, get it in the high schools, and figure out who you want to be here and get people here that can help us be successful, both in the classroom and on the field, because I want to have a good year. And hopefully with that, then that funding can continue so that we can turn the corner, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to compete at the highest level in the Lone Star Conference and start competing for national titles.
Kevin, we got about a minute left. If people as individuals would like to help, how can they contribute? Where do they go?
Well, they can go to our website, and we actually have a giving program link at the top of our website. Our annual giving program, which our annual giving program for the entire university is called One Rue, but we have an athletics department category to that, and then within the athletics department, you can choose a sport, you can choose the Spirit Squad, or you could choose the athletic directors fund, which I use for various things related to student athlete needs, such as awards. You know, I set it up, and really, I mean, I would say this because we're going to start winning, and with winning comes recognition, and our student athletes deserve that recognition.
Well, so, Kevin, congratulations.
So things like championship rings, things like that.
That comes
I want people to walk out with those.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, congratulations on the success we've had this year. Let's hope continued success and even better success next year.
All right. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment. So we'll bring in a representative from Greyhound Rodeo right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and a privilege to bring to the set of SportsLook a young lady from Greyhound Rodeo, Shaeden Marr. And Shaeden, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First of all, where are you from, and what was the process that got you here to Eastern?
I'm from Tularosa, New Mexico. The main reason I came to Portales was because my sister was already going to school here. Also, Coach Albert Flynn was here whenever I signed, so they both played a big part of me being here.
And of course, people might be forgiven for hearing the last name Marr and confusing you because JC was pretty good at rodeo too.
Yes, very good.
Talk a little bit about yourself growing up. Were you just a rodeo contestant, or did you play sports and rodeo?
No, I played sports too. I played basketball, volleyball, softball. I ran track. I did everything. I stayed pretty busy.
Outside of rodeo, what was your favorite sport?
I love basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I actually coached basketball in Elida this year.
I knew it was like, I knew you outside of the context of rodeo. Yeah, because I broadcast EPAC and saw your game. So yeah. Right on. Who were the big influences on you getting involved in rodeo and becoming as good as you were?
Oh, definitely my parents. Without them, I wouldn't have started rodeo. They both rodeoed growing up, and I've been in a saddle since I was born, pretty much.
I was just going to ask you if you could remember back, and obviously it goes back a ways. Yeah. Growing up in Tularosa, you obviously competed in like the high school rodeo. Is there like 4-H rodeo or some other rodeo circuit?
Yes, yep. We started off 4-H rodeoing. That's when you can do it when you're not quite old enough to junior high and high school rodeo. So we started off there, and then we junior high rodeoed, then high school rodeoed.
At what age did you really start to have success?
Probably in junior high, my 8th grade year. I won the breakaway of the New Mexico area.
Wow.
So,
Well, okay, so you were pretty good at a pretty young age. And at what age did Coach Flynn start talking to you?
My junior year of high school, I believe. He would come to our rodeos, our high school rodeos, and talk to the kids.
And what was his pitch? How did he approach trying to recruit you to rodeo for Eastern?
Well, obviously, he had my sister already, so it was like, come rodeo with your sister. But no, the academics and everything that Eastern provided was pretty intriguing.
And during your career, and we will point out that you actually have your undergraduate degree, you're actually in a master's program
Yes.
now. So during your years at Eastern, you rodeoed for Coach Flynn, you rodeoed a year for Grady Goodson, who stepped in on an interim basis, and now Coach Sharp is your coach. So talk a little bit about in what ways they're the same and in what ways they're different coaches.
Yeah, it was interesting having 3 different coaches at a college. When you do come to college, though, not saying you don't need a coach, but you have a lot of the fundamentals down. Coach Flynn, his big thing, he was always there. He was always supportive. Like anything you needed, he was there. They all 3 have that in common. Grady, really appreciative of him stepping in and being there when we needed him. And then John coming in, he's like a fresh breath of fresh air. He's new, he's young, he's determined. So it's cool to kind of see all the 3 different ways.
We'll talk a little bit about that. So to a certain extent, your technique was already set when you got here. What can coaches realistically do for a college rodeo performer?
It may be bringing somebody in from the professional rodeo, bringing somebody in for tips, correcting things here and there, just tell you what you're doing wrong, something you may not be able to see, just the little things.
What was the best bit of advice that anybody has given you in college about improving your technique?
Oh, I don't know. Just keep going, Can't give up, can't get nervous, just keep going. There's always another one, always another rodeo.
There you go. Rodeo is a sport where, usually, and especially in a sport like track, it's just you on the track running against other human beings. Rodeo, you're relying on an animal. So
Right.
talk a little bit about your selection of the horses that you have ridden.
Oh no, it's amazing. You have to have a horse that knows its job, knows what it's doing. You have to work well with the horse. I have a barrel horse right now who's blind in her left eye, but she gives her hardest every time. She's very talented, very good. I have a breakaway horse that's named Mick, and she's young and she's figuring things out, but she does good every time. And then I have my goat tying and my team roping horse, Arnold. He's an oldie but a goodie. He does everything. He'll run barrels, breakaway rope, jack of all trades.
How did you make those selections?
We raise our own horses pretty much in my house. We did buy my breakaway horse, and then a good family friend owns the barrel horse, but all our other horses my parents have trained and raised and bred, and they've all been born at our house, so it's pretty cool.
Well, let's talk about your career at Eastern. So far to this date in time, what's been the rodeo that you've been proud of? And it may not have been even a rodeo that should be placed in the top 3, just simply because you're up against this really good competition. But what's been the rodeo that you've been proudest of?
Probably the Odessa, Texas rodeo this year. I won the women's all-around title, so something I haven't done at all in my 4 years here, so it was pretty cool.
And let's talk a little bit about the rodeo that we have every year. We have the College Days Rodeo. It's always the first rodeo of the season. And talk about what it means to be able to compete in front of people you go to school with in the community that you're a student in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have that first rodeo as your home court advantage, get things kicked off in an arena that you practice in every day. It's super cool to get to compete in front of the community because we only get one rodeo here all year. So we kind of get forgotten a little bit. So it's pretty cool to have everybody out there and experience what we do.
I think I may know the answer to this question, but I always ask the question, and sometimes I'm surprised. What's been the rodeo so far this year that not just you individually, but the team, you kind of thought you were going to do better and you didn't quite perform up to those standards?
We've had probably the last rodeo. Yeah.
That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah, we didn't do too well as a team. It was just little things. We didn't do horrible, but just little things that didn't help us succeed.
Well, from what I understand, it's an arena kind of unlike other arenas you ride in, and so just maybe didn't make the adjustments.
Yep. It's weird. We get to go to all kinds of different arenas. Our arena is big and outdoor, and then that arena was small and indoor. I mean, it's tiny, so we have to adjust a lot when we go to these different places.
Well, I'd like to think that Lewis Cooper is going to be the answer, but maybe not. What's your favorite arena to ride in?
Probably our arena. Yep, Lewis Cooper Arena. It's pretty cool. It's interesting. It's not like any of the others.
We obviously have a fall part of the season. We have a spring part of the season. We've had a couple of rodeos. Where do you stand personally in the region right now?
Not doing how I would like to do, but I think I'm sitting like 7th in the goat tying. I'm not too sure about the breakaway roping. I'm down there quite a bit. Just started team roping at the last rodeo, and barrels haven't really gone how I've wanted it to go this year. But our women's team as a whole, we are sitting 2nd right now, I believe. So.
I was just going to, you correctly anticipated where I was going to go with that question. We obviously have been talking about you in terms of athletics, but let's talk a little bit about a student. What did you come here to major in? Was that what you got your degree in, and what are you getting your grad degree in?
So when I came here, I started biology pre-med. That's what my sister did, so I was just following in her footsteps. A couple years down the line, I didn't think that's what I wanted to do, so I changed the pre-med to secondary education, and I loved it. I loved the kids, I loved going to the schools, and I graduated with that in December, and now I started my master's in sports administration.
So what do you hope to do?
Maybe be an athletic director at a school one day.
So do you plan on using your degree to teach? And if so, do you want to teach on the secondary level?
Yes, if I did teach, it would be in the secondary level. Not quite sure what I want to do for the rest of my life, but.
I was just going to ask whether you'd like to coach on the high school level, or you'd like to be like Coach Sharp and coach on the college level.
Right, it would be pretty cool to be a college rodeo coach. It's something I'd have to build up to for sure.
Well, Shaeden, let's talk a little bit about what's left. What are the regular season rodeos remaining on the schedule?
This weekend, we go to Big Spring, the Howard College Rodeo, and then the weekend after that, we go to WT. Their rodeo is actually going to be held in Hereford, Texas, at the Spicer Group Arena. And then the weekend after that is our last one, and it's going to be in Level End, Texas.
Well, Shaeden, congratulations on the success that you've had in your years at Eastern, and let's hope that you can move up in the standings and get yourself a trip to Wyoming.
Thank you.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of SportsLook. So what we'll do is I'll clear the set, and I will finish up with an overtime right now. When you think Baseball Hall of Fame, you probably think people that play baseball, but there are other people that are in the Baseball Hall of Fame, including 3 songwriters. Can you name them? Probably not. I'll do it for you. Gene Autry. And you're saying, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer guy? Yeah. Did he write a song about baseball? No, but he was an owner of the California Angels, so that's how he got in. Jack Norworth. Probably never heard of him. Guy never went to a baseball game in his life, but he wrote Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And one guy you probably have heard of, John Fogerty, former lead singer of Creedence Clearwater Revival. He wrote a classic song back in the 80s, Center Field, and that got him into the Hall of Fame. Well, that will wrap up in overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of Sports Look. I'd like to thank my guests, Kevin Fite and Shaeden Marr. My floor crew, I had Ms. Samantha tonight as my director. So for those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.